This video we are looking at the NBA slate for tonight. We have 7 games starting at 7 o'clock, so super busy day today. Baseball starting, NBA today. We got PGA going on, so super busy day. Couldn't ask for anything else. Let's get into the video. As always, appreciate you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the baseball videos I post. I posted another one this morning. If you guys are going to be playing MLB today, you can check out Twitter for updates at the DFS process. Yesterday had a fine day, made out in cash games on DraftKings, cash games on Fanduel, and some tournaments on Fanduel. So overall, made some money, which is all you're looking for. Let's go ahead and get into this one. So 7 games, so it's perfectly like right in the perfect wheelhouse. It's not too many games, not too few games. I love like 6 to 8 game slates. We have a lot of news already. James Harden left the game with a hamstring injury last night. I don't expect him to play. Um, it's a back-to-back against Charlotte after he's just been logging so many minutes, and that injury probably won't get better overnight. So I'm expecting him to miss, which would make Kyrie Irving look like one of the best spend-ups of the day. I know he's 9,800, he's expensive, but he's going to have to go off for them. If there is no Harden, no Durant still, I would expect him to take a ton of shots, take a ton of usage, and he's a guy that can facilitate at a super high clip. Now with Harden not having to handle the ball, he's just going to get a lot more assist opportunities. The matchup is great against Charlotte, so he is going to be the primary guy that I'm looking to pay up for on DraftKings at 9,800. Looking at other spend up options, you have Westbrook, he's 11K. If Beal plays, then I would much rather go to Irving. If Beal is out, then it's going to be a bit of a decision point. I still like Kyrie Irving, assuming Beal plays. And then you have Jokic at 10-6 against the Clippers. Clippers shorthanded, no Paul George again tonight. So this game should be close. Good spot for Jokic, 10-6. If you wanted to pay up at center, Curry is 96. I'd rather go to Kyrie Irving. Trae Young is 94. I'd rather go to Kyrie Irving. You still can make an argument to pay up for these guys, put them in your guard spot, but I want to get to Kyrie tonight. Other guys at point guard, it's a pretty expensive Rozier up to 8K, so I think I would rather go to some other places on DraftKings. People expected to make his debut for the Heat. He's 7,500 against Golden State. It is a great spot. But I want to see how he plays alongside Butler and alongside like all those other guys, Hero, Robinson, before I go ahead and put him in. I don't mind going to Jamal Murray. He's probably one of my few guys I like that are in the 7 to 8K range. He's in the mix. You have Colin Sexton. The Cavs are super shorthanded tonight. He's 7,200 against Philly. He's just gonna have to take a ton of shots. It was a terrible spot against Utah. They got blown out, as you would expect. He still played 35 minutes, put up 30 DraftKings points. This sort of spot, we've seen some guards go off against the Sixers. 72 for Sexton is a fine price tag to maybe take a shot. And then I'm going with some value in the 6K range. You have Devontae Graham, 6,400. He looks appealing. The Pelicans could be without Zion tonight, which would make Lonzo look a little bit better if he does play. He's also missed some games, so he's also questionable for tonight. But Alexander Walker's up to 61. I'd probably go to like Josh Hart or go to Ingram before I play Walker. In the 5K range, it's Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson. Both guys going to have to play some more minutes tonight. I like Jackson a bit more than Terrence Mann. He just takes a lot more shots, starters, and he probably will shoot a bunch of threes. Hopefully, he can get hot from the floor. And then in the 4K range, it's like Bruce Brown is going to play a lot of minutes alongside Kyrie if there is no Harden. Saban Lee is 45. The minutes were a bit down last game. I like Diallo more than Lee. Diallo went off last game. I'm expecting him to continue to play a big role in the team going forward. And then you have Corey Joseph as a potential value play, 4,200. Shooting guard options, gotta take a wait-and-see approach on Bradley Beal. I think Rozier is a little bit too expensive on DraftKings. I like him more on FanDuel. I like Sexton at 7,200. I like Devontae Graham. I'd rather take $1,600 savings and play Devontae Graham than I would play Rozier. In the 5K range, Bogdanovich looks really nice. He's 5,400. He had a first game that he went off against the Hawks. He had a couple of couple of good games recently, but that was like the first game where he absolutely made an impact in that game. 45.5 DraftKings points, and there is not going to be John Collins tonight, so just some extra minutes for Bogdanovich and the rest of the guys. So he looks appealing. I like Reggie Jackson, 53. I love Diallo again, 5,100. Even though he shot 7 of 8, he only got 28 minutes, or 27 minutes. He could have played a bit more. The game was out of hand late, so Probably could have got over 30 if the game was closer, but he's a guy that should continue to get more minutes as the season goes on. And then for value, I'm looking at like Luke Kennard, looking at all these questionable pieces. We'll have to see if any of these guys play. But I do like Luke Kennard. He's $4,200. He'll start in place of Paul George again. He's been playing big minutes in those couple starts, 32 and 33. He fouled out in the game against Magic, would have probably got up to 35, 36, and then there was a blowout against the Bucks, so he only played 32. But I would expect him to play like 35, 36 minutes in close games in place of Paul George, especially if there is still no Morris tonight. $4,200 for Luke Kennard. Definitely can take some shares with that. Small forward, Kawhi Leonard. You have him, Paul George. I mean, you have him and Ben Simmons, and Jimmy Butler as your pay-up options. Even Tobias. I like Kawhi the most, then Butler, then Tobias and Simmons. You have Gordon Hayward at 79, Brandon Ingram 78, DeRozan 76. I like Gordon Hayward looks appealing. I'll probably go Ingram if there is no Zion. If Zion plays, then I'd like Hayward more than Ingram. And then DeRozan also is appealing, but he's kind of behind the two guys that are more expensive than him. Then we have Jeremy Grant had a good game. It is a good spot for him against the Wizards to continue to have a good game, but he's kind of been inconsistent. I would feel good about taking a shot on him, though, if you wanted to, if you have some confidence in him. I like him more on FanDuel, but he's still in play. And then 6K range, there's nobody that I'm looking at really closely. Maybe you can look to Aaron Gordon at 6,200. But you do have a lot of guys in the 5K range. You have Bogdanovich, 5,400. You have Morris if he does play at 5,300. We'll get more minutes tonight just with no Paul George. You have Diallo, you have Gallo, which might start in place of Collins. So 5K range is pretty loaded. Then you also have a pay-up option in Kawhi Leonard. Moving on to power forward, we'll have to see if Zion plays. If he does not play, that just opens up a ton of stuff for the rest of the team. It opens up Brandon Ingram as one of the better spend-ups at 78. Assuming Zion doesn't play tonight, I'd like Ingram a lot. They could just hold him out against the Magic. I mean, the Magic aren't really a threat to anybody right now. If there is no Zion, Ingram will just get a bump in all sorts of categories: rebounding, assists, usage, take more shots. Probably will take like 20 plus shots if there is no Zion tonight. And he's been playing really well recently. He's had a couple of down games in there, but you see a lot of 40s, you see some 30s. And this matchup is just really nice against Orlando. Their defense is pretty bad. They play at a pretty they don't play at a super fast clip. Maybe they play a bit faster with that Vooch, but the Pelicans play fast, so this game should be played at a up-tempo pace. And Ingram's price tag has come down a little bit, down to 78. He looks like a guy that I'll get to if there is no Zion. And then, just like guys mentioned at small forward, I like Gordon Hayward, Jeremy Grant. You can look to potentially Gordon in the value range. You have Gallo, 5,200. We have like some value in Cleveland we'll get to. You go look at Dean Wade if there is no Kevin Love, but I like Hartenstein more. And that's mainly the main guys to look at. Moving on to center, you have Jokic at the top. He looks like a great spend up. I like Capella at 77, not having Collins in there, just going to get some extra minutes for Clint Capella, get some more rebounds for him. We have some good plays in the 5K range with Zubats, 5,800 a bucks. We'll have to get some big minutes against this big Denver team. And then you just can't really not. I mean, you could always not play him, but I just will not be fading Hartenstein tonight. He's only 3,700. He's like the only center they have on the team. He played 26 minutes, shot 2 of 8, and still put up 35. He had 14 boards, had 5 fouls, had 7 assists, and that was such a tough spot against Utah. It's a much better spot against Philly without Joel Embiid. So I'm expecting him to definitely shoot a lot better from the floor than 2 of 8. We'll still get a lot of rebounds. We'll potentially get some assists. Not 7, but maybe a handful, like 3 or 4. And the minutes should be there against Philly. Definitely looking like the best value play of the day. And then last but not least, it's going to be Bogdanovich, 5,400 bucks. There is not going to be Collins or potentially no DeAndre Hunter again. It's just going to mean some more minutes for Bogdanovich. He's been aggressive recently in some of these games. Get some ball handling responsibilities. But mainly, he's a guy that if he's out there, he can get you some fantasy points. He's been not having the best season, but he's been better recently now that he's given some opportunities. And I expect those to continue tonight in case there's no Hunter and with Collins already ruled out. So that is the DraftKings breakdown. Let's go ahead and look at Fanduel. Fanduel here, starting off at point guard, we have Westbrook at 11.3. We have Kyrie at 10,000. I like Kyrie more than Westbrook, assuming Beal plays. You can go to cheaper options like Trae Young, Steph Curry. They're looking like comparable pivots than they are. I mean, they're looking like better pivots than they do look on DraftKings. Still going to lean to Kyrie just because I think he can drop 60, 65 tonight if he wants to. I like Terry Rozier a lot at 75. I like Jamal Murray 73. And then you can look to some value here with Reggie Jackson at $5,000. He looks like a fine value piece. At shooting guard, it's a couple of guys questionable at the top. I don't think Harden will play. If Beal plays, he's looking like a pretty good spend up against Detroit. You can also go in the cheaper route and go with DeRozan, go with Colin Sexton at 7,500. You have Diallo at 58. He looks better on DraftKings, but he's still playable on FanDuel. You can look to Devontae Graham at only 5,600. He looks nice and cheap on FanDuel to go to. Then you have Terrence Mann at 51. We have Luke Kennard at 47 as a value play. You have Bruce Brown as a value piece. Seth Curry as a value option. So a lot of value plays to consider. I am going to go with Colin Sexton at 75. Just going to have to take a lot of usage. Expecting this game to be a lot closer than their most recent game against the Jazz. Sure, they still could get blown out, but at least they're at home. Sixers still without Embiid, so Sexton will have a bit easier way in terms of getting into the paint and getting some layups. So I'd like him at 75. He gives you a lot of upside, and we'll just probably play 40 minutes tonight. Small forward, it's definitely Kawhi Leonard at the top. You have Jimmy Butler as another guy you can pay up for. All four of these guys look appealing. Ingram would look a lot more appealing if there is no Zion. Hayward looks appealing anyways at only 7K. And then I like Kawhi more than Butler. And then you have like Porter at 68. He's not going to get any ownership. I probably won't go to him, but if you wanted to go for a low-owned play, it's going to be Michael Porter. In the value range, it's Gallo at 5,200. You have like Prince might get some more minutes if there is no Kevin Love today again. But I'm going to go with Bogdanovich. Just pretty much an auto play for me at only $4,200 on FanDuel. Power forward, if Zion plays, he's 95, so he's expensive. I probably won't go to that price tag. If he's out, that just opens up the rest of the team. Tobias looks appealing at 8,300. Then you have some nice price tags on Jeremy Grant is only 6,600. You have Gordon is only 5,400. But the best play is going to be a Hartenstein. He's only 4,000 bucks. You have like Jeff Green, Dean Wade as other guys you can look to that are cheap, but Hartenstein, you're getting a center at power forward, which is always nice, and he's just super cheap. And then last but not least, at center, Jokic is up to 11K. You can always get to him. I think I like Capella as a pay-up option as 8,500. Value options, it's going to be Zubac's 5,600. It potentially could be Steven Adams if there is no Zion. Dwight Howard if he starts 5,100. I am going to assume I'm going to go ahead and plug in Clint Capella. Hopefully, continues to get some good minutes tonight. Hopefully, get some extra minutes in place just with no John Collins getting some backup center minutes. He's a guy that, if he's given minutes, he can absolutely have an explosive game because he can get you some blocks, some steals, gets a ton of rebounds, gets some putbacks, and hopefully Trae Young looks to him with some layups. So, I like Capella at 85. It is a spot against Pirtle, who does play some good minutes, and so should be matched up against Pirtle pretty much all game. That is it for the NBA video. Thank you guys for watching. Best of luck. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Really appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and best of luck.